That gives them plenty of time to calculate things. Because, yeah, what we're having to wait is for Kerbin to be here. Now, Kerbin's in the lower orbit, so it's going around the sun faster than we are. So we're waiting for it to do this, but keep in mind, we're also moving, so it's going to be this race. That's why it's going to take more than just a year for Kerbin to reach around here, because we're coming around there. So, yeah, a year and a half. That's exactly what I expected. So, what we're going to do is, well, we can't time warp at the speed we want here, so we're going to have to go to, say, the tracking station. I think Quill is enjoying the misery of his Kerbinauts a bit too much. Oh, good thing you can't tell him about the weight, because his antenna doesn't work. That's right. He thought he was bored before, right? 4 years on the surface, but at least, you know, again, he could watch some YouTube and stuff. Now, he's got nothing. Poor fool. I said you had lots of fuel. Why wait for the transfer window? Well, I mean, there's two reasons. Because we don't have, like, infinitude fuel. You can reach the planet outside the transfer window by, like, doing more direct burns, radial, anti-radial, different things like that. It's entirely possible. But I think for that, we'd probably be looking at something like, we need like 6,000 Delta V or something ridiculous. For the amount of fuel we have, we really need to be in the transfer window. For it to be a convenient sort of just like, burn retrograde relative to Duna, and woo, look at that, we're at Kerbin. Parachutes? We have parachutes. I didn't like launch all my parachutes, did I? We'll verify that. So we're just waiting. We got another 250 days left to go, but you can quite see, especially if I try to keep doing it here, you can see what's happening is Kerbin is catching up. And when Kerbin, if I'm keeping Duna at say 3 o'clock here, when Kerbin's at, you know, 4.5 on the clock, somewhere around here, basically about 40, I think it's like 42 degrees or something like that, is the optimal place to do it. There's a good website to calculate all these transfer windows. Or, again, the Kerbal alarm clock will actually tell you the correct time for it. You know, plus or minus whatever, based on calculation errors. But as long as it's close. Again, close enough is good enough. Again, we're still basically waiting for Kerbin to be right around here, saying about 60 more days. That sounds about right. Yeah, I'll double check the chutes before we go, but unless they like deployed incorrectly at some point, we should have 3 chutes, a pair of drogues, and then the primary chute. Oh, it might not be 42 degrees on the return. Actually, it looks a little bit. Whatever. Delete the event. Yes, thank you. Excellent. Do this. Do that. So now we are, before I switch here, because that was a long time loop, let me just do another save. So in case it crashes on the way back or something like that. Save. Do this. I mean, if the program crashes. If Bob crashes, it'll be tragic, but also kind of funny. So if we look, Bob's mission here is now at 6 years and 120 days. And this Duna lander's empty, but that's a good timer for the total amount of time Bob's been in space. So we're going to switch over to the Hogan, which is where Bob is, in orbit around Duna. Not then rescuing in Kerbin SOI. Yeah, maybe. Okay, so what we're doing now is we need to burn retrograde. Yay, cancel these maneuvers. We're burning retrograde effectively along the orbital path of Duna relative to the sun. So what we want to do, with us pointing this way, is we want to be exiting the Dunian sphere of influence heading south. So we'll do something like this. Kind of awkward to manage here. Okay. Now, how does that look? No, we do need a little bit more. because we're eventually going to reach the blue line. Again, I won't go all the way, because we're going to have to do a corrective burn. And the last thing I want to do is overshoot. Do something like that, and then correct the timing, so you can see we're not leaving at quite the right angle here. So we're going to need to start a burn a little bit later. That's looking better. Then a little bit later. A little bit better. And how does that look relative to Kerbin? Very, very close. Excellent. I didn't set a target or anything yet, but again, I will be, because it's just a lot easier for me, I will be arranging that when we're outside. So it's going to take 600 meters per second to do this burn. That's pretty good, and it's going to get us almost to the Kerbin sphere of influence. So we're going to be planning that now. Let me verify the parachute situation. Indeed, we're good to go, because ultimately, what we're going to be doing is we're burning with this. Once these side tanks are out of liquid fuel, we'll be dumping them. That's the next stage. Then at some point, when it's time for us to actually re-enter the like Kerbin itself, we dump everything at the bottom. We do have a heat shield. I mean, I had one at some point. Oh, yeah, there it is. Yep, heat shield. These are drogue chutes, and then there's our actual main chute. So we should be fine. What could possibly go wrong? So has anyone told Bob they're filming a new Kerbal reality TV show called Lost in Space? Yeah, distract him. Like, I'm not. Is there a problem with my shoots? They seem okay. What's south in space? I mean, you know, down on the screen is what I meant. Although I think there's like, there's some sort of, I don't know if this is reality or some like sci-fi various shows, but there is like a galactic north that you can define as being always like pointing towards the galactic, or galactic center or something like that. Like you can sort of like agree on a local north or whatever, but here I just meant screen. Yeah, the chutes are fine. I'm pretty sure they're fine. I'm getting like super paranoid now, but like, we have parachutes, it's okay. I didn't use them all to go down on Duna, which is common. It's very common for your return ships. Use parachutes to land on Duna, then have an engineer repack them, and they use that as also to land on Kerbin. But we did not use our Kerbin chutes. We did not use for our Dunian bits. Okay, so this is going to be a 2-minute burn, which is fine. And we'll probably have enough fuel in these side tanks to do that. But I'm going to keep an eye on them. North and south are based on the normal vector of an average galactic rotation. There you go. Oh, right. Not, yeah. Yeah, normal from the rotation. Right, of course. Just like, yeah, like how we define, like, the north pole of a planet is based on the rotation. Yep. Gotcha. So in this case, I definitely was not talking about even solar system north or south. Just my screen, my local space. So burn's still going. Oh, that's our connection. Right, we got a signal through the satellite, which, I mean, doesn't really matter, but we did plan a maneuver, actually, so I guess it's handy. We wouldn't have been able to plan maneuver. I would have had to just sort of eyeball the launch, burn until we broke out of here, and then eyeballed, you know, another retrograde burn to do the meetup. And actually, while we were within range of the satellite, I'll actually try to plan a maneuver outside of the sphere of influence. Usually I wait until I'm actually out of it. But now I won't, because I'll have to do it while within range of the satellite. And that's okay. If we look here, our orbit on the other side is dropping. So there's the Dunian orbit, here's the Kerbin orbit, and we are dropping our orbit to be closer and closer to Kerbin for an eventual meetup over here. Assuming, you know, this transfer window is correct. I guess if I set Kerbin as a target, we should start to see... Whoa! What happened to my maneuver all of a sudden? My maneuver broke when I set the target. Oh, poop. Okay, we're still on an escape velocity or escape course over here, but not one I'm entirely pleased about. Basically, I'm still burning prograde. If I just do that, I'm just trying to get the escape vector to be a little bit more reasonable. Although, honestly, at this point, if I just kept burning at some point... Why am I not seeing the closest approach to Kerbin? There it is. There it is. That's okay. Who needs maneuvers? Maneuvers are for wimps, you know? So there's the current closest approach. That's going to get a little further away, which is I'm going to wait at this point until we're out and do a fix-up. But this is my actual... If I'm going to click, yeah. So this is where I'm going to be. That's in a year. I don't want that one. I want, like... What? I want the purple one. Why can't I click on the purple line to plan my maneuver? That's weird. I can only... Oh, there we go. In 9 days. 6 days. Sure. Close enough. While I still have the satellite around, so I can use the computers on Kerbal to help me plan my route. Although, it's not showing me the closest approach anymore. I think it's confused because it's planning it based on... I don't know. Alright, we may not be able to use the satellite. Although, there might still be... We might still be within range when we leave the system. We'll work it out. It's fine! Could possibly go wrong. Vroom. Nope. No signal. That's okay. Maneuvers are for wimps. So yeah, so it won't let me plan one, right? That's great! Okay, it's fine. So, what we need to do is we need to do things such that these little two tickies get closer together. Burning a wee bit retrograde will help. So we're going to start with that. We're pointing retrograde. Can I keep the distance up? That's not the one I want. I want... There we go. Separation. So I don't actually care about the other one. No, I don't... Oh, you highlighted the periapsis. I see. Oh, there's too much shit to click on over here. I need... There we go. There. So what I want to do is bring the separation down. Like so. So right now I'm burning retrograde relative to the sun. So that's bringing down our separation. Oh, I should check my side tanks over here. Are you guys empty? Not quite. Okay. So it's not time to split you off yet. Oh, reset this. So I'm doing very gentle burns. Alright, it's not really dropping as fast as I might like right now. Well, no, I guess it's fine. There we go. Now we're 1,000,000 kilometers away. 900,000, 800,000. You can see everything's getting closer and closer and closer. And actually, our closest approach is getting closer to our periapsis, which is pretty good! Okay, let's do it a little slower here. Oh, now we're starting to separate again. Okay, so that's as close as I can get doing that. Then what I'll want to do is, I don't know if it's radial or anti-radial. We'll try one, then we'll try the other. We're fine. Check the tanks again. Okay. Oh, they're still not empty. Sweet Jeebus. I mean, the remaining tank is really small. Yes, it's not a very good, efficient way to use the nuclear engine, but we wanted to use nuclear engines because obvious reasons. Okay, so if I go now... No, wrong way. So I want to use plus radial instead of anti-radial. And go. There we go. So the separation number is going down, down, down. At some point, we'll actually get an encounter. There it is. Oh, then that doesn't change the separation. Oh, I guess that makes sense. Because the sphere of influence counts as sort of a full encounter. But now if I focus on Kerbin and look and keep burning this way, now I want to highlight the periapsis and keep bringing that down. Okay, I think that's as close as we're going to get burning at this angle here. This is not necessarily the ideal place to do a normal burn, but we have a fair amount of fuel. I'm going to just give this a bit of a something here. I guess it doesn't matter that we come in equatorial, although it does make the encounter a little easier. Oh, that's the wrong way. Yeah, it's the wrong place to be doing that burn. So what we're going to do is we are going to quick save. And we are going to advance this to about halfway towards where we're trying to get. And then that'll be the place to do the real good adjustment. Real good adjustment. So, it's going to take 150 days. We're going to warp to there. See, who needs maneuvers? Pfft. Who needs computers to calculate shit? No. Seat of your pants is best. All the time. So we're slowly falling towards the sun. And hopefully, towards Kerbin. Oh yeah, let's check the tanks. They must be empty, and even if they're not, they're still not empty. I mean, if we got the fuel, we may as well use them. God damn. Hooray for engineering. We've, like, wasted so much fuel on this. But that's okay. So now, there we are. Just bring a secretarial. It just makes the rendezvous a little simpler. Although it's still not exactly the ideal angle to be doing this. That's going to be fine. And then if I were to burn pro radial here. Bob can't operate the computer spotter directory because they run in Windows 10, which Bob is unfamiliar with. That's not the right way. And you just watch the number. You do like one tap a shift and see if the number, does it get bigger or does it get smaller? There you go. So now it's going to get smaller. It's kind of a funny angle thing going on here. What the hell is with our orbit? You know what? It's fine. We'll just wait until we're closer. We'll try that again. Boy, it'd be great if I could do a maneuver plan at this point. Wouldn't that be nice? Alright. Whoa, the bus there. So. There we are. Okay, that's, it's interesting and not what I was expecting. Alright, so we'll come in a little polar, which is fine right now. I mean, it's easier to do your sphere of... Okay, I'm sure we can dump the side tanks now. Oh my god, they still have fuel left in them! They're huge compared to the little one. So, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. Actually, let's quick save before I overshoot. I may have just quick saved, I'm not sure. Let's make sure. And, so now the question becomes, what altitude are we targeting? Probably a little closer to this. I'm thinking something like 35K. There you go, 32K. That should be fine. We are going to be coming in pretty high speed. We do have enough extra fuel left in the tank that I can do my, like, retrograde / radial burn to try to, like, burn off a little bit more, orbital speed before we come in. But we're actually going to be coming in with such a light little craft that it doesn't matter. These side tanks still have goddamn fuel in them. But I'm going to ditch them at this point. Before I do, let me hard save just in case, like, I screwed up something with, like, solar panels or something. I don't think so, though. Goodbye. We still have 2,500 Delta V. We could land on Minmus with this. In fact, we could probably land on Minmus so gently that it wouldn't break the engine. It probably can tolerate like a landing of like 6 meters per second or something like that. The hard part will be landing just so it doesn't topple. We could probably land this on Minmus and then still make it home. Oh, so ludicrous. So ludicrous. Okay. Good stuff. Did that upset our orbit? Nope, we're still good, because sometimes it can. Boom, 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 boom. That much delta V, it's possible to drop the AP to 100k before. Yeah, and you know there are things that we can definitely do like that, which would burn off a lot of our orbital speed. But for now, what I'm going to do is just fast forward until we enter the sphere of influence of Kerbin. These are all asteroids. At some point I'll have to do the asteroid stuff. I've never done an asteroid landing, capture, anything of the sort. You know, tow an asteroid back home. One day. So, how's our periapsis looking? 32k, which feels pretty good. Doing this. We're planning for orbital retrograde at some point, but we don't have to worry about that quite yet. Quick save. Time warped over here. 3 days away. My god, Bob, you're almost home. Bob, dude, Bob Baran. Hey, we've got a signal again. Alright, get a little closer. Excellent. So, what you can do, because here's the thing with the slowdown. If you want to burn off more of your orbital speed, you can burn retrograde. Problem with that that drops your periapsis. If you burn radial, you actually sort of just tilt your orbit, so you'd lift it up, the periapsis would start lifting. So if you burn somewhere in the middle, you can actually solo yourself down, while also, so where's the plus radial? It's that way. Okay. While also not dropping your periapsis. Oh yeah, I've got my engine all derated. So we could do that if you wanted to go for more safety, but you know, safety sounds boring. Okay, nice lag there. Wasn't responding to my keys. So here we're just actually raising things a lot, so I want to be a little closer to my retrograde. Keep the periapsis sort of in the sweet spot. And you can move a little closer to the radial whenever you want to raise it, or a little closer to the retrograde whenever you want to drop it. Try to keep in that sweet spot. I mean, we may as well just dump some fuel here. What the heck, right? Although Bob is pretty anxious to get home. He's also anxious to not burn up on re-entry, so, you know, that's a thing. So I'm just trying to keep the periapsis, you know, I mean, especially if we burn off a lot of this orbital speed, then we could come in quite a bit lower. I want it to come in higher so we have lots of horizontal space to bleed off speed in the atmosphere. It starts to become a little bit less concerning exactly what angle we work at. Okay, the tighter your orbit gets here, the harder it is to manage the speed. It starts to like alternate quite quickly here, like it's doing now. I don't want to run out. Oh my god, I got so much freaking delta V, it's ridiculous. We can get a little bit more fine precision if I do go and drop this, but then at that point it's like, you know, sort of what's the point? There you go. Just try to bleed off a little bit of our height. I mean, it looks here like we only maybe bled off 200 meters per second or 300 or whatever it was. But it's actually going to be a little bit more when we actually get to the peri, so, you know, it's sometimes worth doing. I think this is about as much work as I'm willing to put into it, though. Land him on the KSC. You know, we've got enough fuel. We could have done all sorts of orbital corrections for that. That's true. I'm going to call this good enough. Good enough for Kerbal work. So I think at this point I can just ditch everything at the bottom. We technically still have solar panels, so we're not worried about that. Let's do it. Turn off the SAS, not that it matters. Solar panels will be retracted once we enter the atmosphere. There's home, Bob! You're almost home! You're almost home! You're coming a little, you know... Well, actually, you're going to be hitting, you know, kind of equatorial in the water. Actually, this should be a pretty safe entry. We should. The periapsis is there. We'll land somewhere a little bit beyond that. Seems alright to me. So, I think at this point, so we got this, I will go and just fast forward, not too fast, until we enter the atmosphere, at which point the time warping will stop. Oh my god, Bob! Bob, you're almost there. I mean, I don't want to jinx it. But Bob, you're almost home. You're almost home. Okay, you are going to stay locked to surface retrograde. Deploy, retract the solar panels. We're going to use a little bit of power for the reaction wheels to keep ourselves facing that way, but we do have the batteries. It's probably where aerodynamically stable that I don't need to go and explicitly stay locked surface retrograde. That will naturally happen with this shape, but it's always a little bit better to do that. Plus, with the batteries up here, batteries are very heavy. We may actually be a little bit more top heavy than we would like. So, I just nuked Kerbin. It's true, I did just drop some nuclear engines on Kerbin. It's probably not... What's your heating? I think that's just a little bit of internal temperature. It might be, like, flowing in from there, but it's not rising up, so it's going to be okay. Watch us explode now. Like, what? It's like the most basic re-entry capsule ever. Okay, I am a little concerned about all of our solar panels. Now, I think if the solar panels explode, they probably won't take the rest. By rotate around here, you can actually like redistribute the heat a little bit and avoid some problems. Because you keep like some sides are less bad for temperature. So if one gets hot, you sort of rotate it to the other side where it's a little bit more shielded. Now, I don't think the solar panels exploding would kill everything, but you know, better safe than sorry at this point, right? And yeah, this is just a little bit of internal temperature, or maybe the heat shield, but that's designed to do. We're in a big camera change here. As we enter into a more standard orbit, there'll be one more when the... Actually, I don't know if there'll be another. Wow. Have we bled off that much speed already? What are we at? 33K. So there's a lot of speed that way, but heat seems to be pretty good. Slowing down quickly. Ablator... The ablator ablation rates are dropping, so that's good. That's good. Plenty of batteries. Orientation is good. As long as I don't screw up the parachutes. Oops. Yeah, that's okay. They're just blinking some of the heat just every now and again, just because they do poke out past the heat shield there. But they're mostly covered. I think we're going to do it. Look at Bob. Bob looks so happy. Should I EVA right now? I was going to view, but it was like, if I hit that EVA button accidentally. Ground control to Major Bob. Everything's looking good here, buddy. There you go. Ablation rate is basically 0 now. So heat effects are not a problem whatsoever. Speed still burning off well. Just waiting till we get to the safe period to deploy the drogues. It's 3 p.m. Oh my god. Timed this almost perfectly. Again, try to go for about 3 hours as single player. We're 3 hours in, and we're basically there. We can deploy the drogues. Deploy the drogues! And you can go and kill the smart ASS. Because A, it was probably aerodynamically stable, and B, it definitely will be now that it's got the drogues. We're almost... I can actually deploy the main chutes as well. I'm going to do it. I mean, it's going to make our descent take quite some time. That's okay. Now, they're not fully extended right now. But they're bleeding off a lot of speed. We're still 16 kilometers above the surface. This is going to be a long descent. What I'm going to do... I'll quick save again. Always quick save before you do this. I'm going to physics warp in here. Physics warping... occasionally leads to certain technical problems with, you know, physics engines and stuff like that. But we're going to try to accelerate our descent a wee bit. So at, I believe, 5K above surface, it looks like we might be going to Highlands, the drogues will fully deploy. Oh, maybe it's not flight. Oh, it's 2,500. That's what it is. There you go. So the drogues are fully deploying. Then at 1K above the surface, the regular chute will go. Just out of curiosity, is there any crew reports above this land? No, this is just grasslands. Okay. I added more ground collider, though. It looks nice. Alright, physics warp. Physics warp all the way. What could possibly go wrong? Yeah, actually, I'm betting it's fine. So, it's worth noting that the Hogan mission here has lasted for almost 3 years by itself. And that Bob had been on Duna almost 2 years before this mission launched. Well, again, we'll check Bob's actual mission timer once we land. We'll go to the tracking center and check the Duna lander. But, oh my god. We should EVA Bob right now. You know what scares me a little bit? That our speed is actually slightly above 6 meters per second, which is technically higher than what a lot of components can survive. This capsule, I believe, can handle 12, though. Watch him get stuck in a tree. I don't know what the heat shield. There might be some weird thing going on there. It was 6.1. Coming in a little faster than I would have preferred. we're fine. Heat shield must have slightly higher. If that was like a science module at the bottom, the science module would have exploded, though. That little bounce and wobble was scary. Bob! Bob! Bob, you're home! Bob! Hang on. And an EVA, Bob. EVA, it's okay. It's alright. It's alright. Just let it go. Let it go. Wee! Woohoo! Jump! Now he's gonna die from, like, the things that can happen sometimes when Kerbals jump and slide and start rolling on a planet. He's probably taking a little bit of damage every time I do one of those things. Woohoo! Hang on, this deserves a picture. Camera's clipping into the ground a little bit. That's okay. Come on, Bob, you should look happier. He's like, oh, I miss Duna. What? Yeah, I want to go back. What? Get on board. Oh, I should plant a flag. Let's plant a flag. Also, I don't suppose there's like a soil sample that can be taken here. Is there? Yeah, looks like dirt. Yes, let's do that. Plant a flag. I'm surprised he's still able to walk. Well, Duna's only got like, it's like 60%, I think, of the Kerbin gravity. So, you know, it's not that bad. I made it back. Bob. Boom. Dun 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 dun. All right, let's get back in. The helicopter's on its way. It's gonna scoop you up. Recover vessel. Woohoo! Bob's new mission: place a science station around Duna. Now for Bob to file a lawsuit against Quill. Bob's Landing. Yeah, that would have been the name for that place. Holy cow! Holy cow! Oh, we got some science. Oh yeah, from the samples. And recover a vessel that returned from the surface. You get science just for having done that. There was a point to doing this with Bob. Look at that. Look at that. Bob gets to level 3. Fantastic. Look at him. And yeah, if we go to the tracking station, then we can check. I was going to say, it hasn't been any sound in a little while. The Duna Lander. The Duna Lander, 6 years, 423 days. I believe a day in Kerbal space is like 450, or sorry, a year is 450 days, I think. So very nearly a full 7-year mission for Bob over here. And we're gonna leave his lander there forever. I mean, that's a memorial site. When like the Martian colony gets established, they're gonna have like a plaque there and everything. Ha 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 ha. Oh wow, that is fantastic. Yeah, why is he not max level? Well, because he only, you know, he's the Dunian expert, but he doesn't know anything else. Oh man, that was very satisfying. By far, like that went really surprisingly well, considering like I've never landed a vessel on Duna that was intended to take off again. Never. I visited Duna a couple times, but left everything there. And here we landed in Duna and came back. I mean, for those of you who missed the beginning of the stream, I don't know if you know the monstrosity that we launched. And yes, it was over-engineered. We basically dumped an extra, like, 3,000 Delta V of fuel into space. And in fact, if we hadn't brought that fuel, we would have been able to trim down the initial layer that much more, right? Like, if I went and trimmed down the top layers, I probably could take off a massive amount of engines here. But this is it. This is their Dunian ship. And I think part of it was because some of the numbers were a bit off because the fuel flow working differently and a couple of different things like that. And also MechJeb not really truly being updated for the current game. But look at this beast. But this beast flew and it went perfectly. It was perfect. I know, it's just struts and boosters, baby. But it flew really well. I couldn't believe it. Getting to orbit with like some fuel to spare, you know, doing this and this, and feeling pretty maneuverable. It was surprisingly good. The Hogan. Need some like wrestling puns or something at this point. I mean, it's not named after Hulk Hogan, but it feels like, you know, a big strong wrestling dude. Need to add what could possibly go wrong. Oh wow, hold on. First of all, I missed a couple of tips, so terribly sorry about that. I'll be right back and respond to that. I did actually, I haven't brought it in properly. I do actually have my own flag pack with a what could possibly go wrong flag, which we didn't use on this mission. I'm feeling really dumb because that would have been perfect. Because normally you can see my flag up on the wall and everything. It's fantastic. I'll have to get that back in there and reset it up. But yeah. All right. So yes, we got some tips in. Citro sent in 2 actually, back to back. Terribly sorry I missed that about half an hour ago. Who said, "Blessed is the mind too small for doubt." And then the second one was, "The flesh is weak." Thank you very much for those words, Citro. We'll take that to heart. And Random Spartan just sent in a big tip. Thank you so much. Always enjoy watching you stream. Here is giving you some back for all the laughs you've given us over the years. Cheers, Quill, and stream on. Well, thank you very much for that. I hope everyone enjoyed the Kerbal Space Program portion of today's stream. If you just came out for that, totally fine. I dig it. If you missed any of it, I will get it up on the YubTubs, hopefully relatively soon. Next up, though, we are going to be doing our subscriber multiplayer. So every Saturday, I like to try to get in an hour of multiplayer with some of the subscribers. Just have fun, connect, that sort of thing. We're going to be playing Dota 2 today. We're going to be doing the 10v10 map, so it's going to be 20 people. Well, one, like myself, plus 19 others, duking out in Dota 2. I'm terrible at it. So even if you're terrible at it, it's fine. I'm going to be emailing subscribers with the password to the game. And if it doesn't fill up with subscribers, I will then show the password to everyone so that we can get other people to jump into the game at that point. But we will be doing that. I'm going to be taking a short break. I will be seeing if I can maybe dig up a little bit of a beverage. And then we will play the Dotes. And yeah. So again, if you just came up for the single player, that's fine. But if you want to stick around for the multiplayer, it gets kind of fun. So thank you for that. And I'll see you guys in like a couple of minutes.